Hello there, kia ora. There's always a reason to say no, but if we keep saying no, we'll keep going nowhere. This is the inspirational line from the State of the Nation speech that the Prime Minister gave yesterday in Kirikiriroa, Hamilton. And you know what? The Prime Minister is right. If we keep saying no, then we'll go nowhere. We need to say yes, like the 72,900 Kiwis who said yes to leaving the country last year, making it the largest year ever for people moving out of the country because of the results that this government has wrought upon us all. Well, since the Prime Minister is clearly one for saying yes all the time, like he's in a 2008 Jim Carrey movie co-starring Rhys Darby, well, I thought I would check to see if I could find any examples, no matter how rare they are, of him saying no. Because it's always good to remember these things. Like when he was asked by abuse and state care survivors not to restart boot camps and to make sure that there was support in place through organisations like Oranga Tamariki to help young people and to look at evidence-based results of Section 7AA in the OT Act, which saw amazing results in dropping the numbers of uplifted young Māori. That's right, he said no to that. Or like when he was asked if he thought it was wrong for him as a wealthy and sorted Prime Minister to get an accommodation supplement when he refused to live in Premier House. No, that's right, he said no, he was entitled. Or when his government was asked to help with the Dunedin flood mitigation plan just before the city was flooded last year. Or any science-based approach to climate change at all, really. Or how he was asked whether or not he thought Māori had never ceded sovereignty. He said no. No, that was not an issue. They obviously ceded sovereignty. We got asked if he felt our delegations on past trips were any good. He said no and called them C-listers. Can Dunedin have a hospital? The hospital that they were promised by this government before the election. Or even proper advice from actual experts in law changes around heated tobacco instead of whatever the minister Googled. Still no? Well, speaking of law, how about equitable access to legal tools like cultural background reports for everyone, not just the rich? Okay, how about a tax cut that doesn't disproportionately benefit the wealthy, tobacco companies, and landlords? Well, what about custom-built rail-enabled ferries designed to handle our unique conditions and requirements? What about allowing work from home for government workers? A practice that's shown to increase worker satisfaction and productivity? Maybe even just an acknowledgement that firing 10,000 civil servants would disproportionately impact Wellington Central in a negative way because there's suddenly a whole bunch of people not working there? How about staffing levels in our health sector that don't exhaust those already there, that don't force frontline staff to be doing backroom work, pulling them from frontline work, and don't put us all at risk through systemic pressure put on the entire health sector? What about an evidence-based approach to provision of primary health care and medications, which lead to less demand on hospital and emergency services by providing adequate funding and costs being covered? Or even those cancer drugs that you promised without taking money from next year's budget because you forgot to budget for them this year? How about a Prime Minister actually accountable to the press, one who's willing to front up to the media? What about actual evidence used to make decisions? Can we have that instead of the mythical 14 layers of management, which included those visiting a hospital because they were sick? Maybe we can have strong support for small to medium-sized businesses so they stop going under at the record rates that they've been going under. What about scientifically based, evidence-led approaches to transport safety and management? Now that we've got a new transport minister, is it possible that we might get that? I mean, that's not a no. To be fair, that's a maybe, but so far it's been a no. Maybe we could have some honesty in the reporting of debt levels with our tertiary institutions. Or would that ruin the surprise shake-up that they've been promised later this year? How about some respect for the disabled community? An iota of it. Is that possible? How about a Waitangi Tribunal, Human Rights Commissioner, Race Relations Commissioner appointment that doesn't look like the worst possible choices? Can we try that? Can we keep the first home grants that you promised people while you were in opposition? Can we treat those on a benefit with any sort of dignity, understanding that this is a safety net and not vilify those getting benefits or within that system? How about a rebuilt education system based on actual data and research and not racist seeming vibes or conspiracy fueled ramblings from New Zealand First? Can we let councils make their own decisions? How about funding for our creative sector and keeping the incoming Deputy Prime Minister from throwing his weight around and threatening people and organisations if they publish things that he doesn't like? What about meeting the pay requests of the police or the nurses or the teachers? Or a new police station in Greymouth? What about an actual plan for water infrastructure instead of winging it and hoping maybe some basic attempt at being a good treaty partner? Keeping benefits indexed to the way that they were so that future benefit increases aren't so small they're impossible to survive and end up having beneficiaries getting less than they would have under the old system. What about funding for proper mental health services or even the suicide prevention office? Maybe even something that outlaws the use of Nazi signs and insignia. How about a minimum wage increase that's actually higher than the rate of inflation so that those that are earning minimum wage aren't essentially getting paid less than they were before? What about a plan to get people to stop smoking? Or an approach to trans people in amateur sport that's industry-led, evidence-based, and not being pushed by the conspiracy-fueled fringe nutjobs that are controlling New Zealand First? Oh, it was no to all of those, but a quick yes to anything his coalition partners ask for, no matter how divisive, racist, hateful, or stupid it is, and a very quick yes to tax breaks for landlords. If the Prime Minister wants us to be a country that focuses on growth and stop saying no, then maybe he should take it on board for himself. Instead, he's led the country into a regressive state where people are leaving in droves because they can't see a future here for themselves or their whānau. He wants a country that grows in the future, then build one where people want to be here, where they can see the benefit of being here, of investing in this place with their ideas, their time, their creativity, business plans, knowing the place is going to look after them when they need help, when they're sick, when they want to learn, when they want to care for their home, when they want to look out for each other and celebrate who they are. Or, we could just have more big concerts at Eden Park, because clearly that'll fix everything. Hey, thanks for checking out today's video. Make sure you like, share, subscribe so you get more updates as we go along. We deal with these guys for the rest of the year.